Hey y'all, it's Raizu here, and today we're back into Yuji versus Chainsaw Man. We just reacted to Toji versus Chainsaw Man, and now we saw him. He won most of them except for the Snake Girl. So why not run it back with Yuji versus Chainsaw Man? Let's get into the video.
Man versus Jujutsu Kaisen. Main character versus main character. Denji versus Yuji. Two
I got
traumatized characters
Yuji,
I
I
talked
think,
about on the channel
honestly.
before,
I
and
don't know
am
much
pretty
about
fond
Denji,
of going head to head in order to
manga-wise.
see
I finished the
who's
anime.
stronger. In this video, I'll be comparing these two characters on the basis of their physical abilities and hacks in order to see who would win and why. Yuji and Denji, as they
Let's get
exist
into it.
for a majority of their time in their respective universes, are combatants that fight quite simply. The straightforward nature of their
Yeah,
fighting
Yuji be
styles have been
boxing.
called out, not just by fans of the series a la Yuji Punch Kick Itadori, but also within the context of characters fighting them, as demonstrated when Rize takes time out of their fight to
The
scold Denji
movie.
on the lack
I
of
should watch
creativity
that
he's
soon.
applying to his chainsaw usage. Because of this, more than many other battles I've covered on the channel, and will be talking about specifically within the realm of Chainsaw Man versus Jujutsu Kaisen matchups, physical abilities will be a major deciding factor. Going over Denji's strength and attack potency as it pertains to this, and covering pretty much his entire stint as Chainsaw Man is relatively simple and pretty hilarious. While the series isn't exactly known for its destructive feats or massive explosions in the low to mid tiers, I would be
True.
lying if I said that I expected this outcome in particular for him. Throughout his fights with other devils and hybrids in the story, Denji has a very consistent building level baseline of durability and attack potency, whether it's shown through him effortlessly cutting down the cockroach devil that can do significant damage to a building with a barrage of punches, or early Denji surviving multiple sonic blasts from the bat
Bat.
devil. Fujimoto keeps this level of power and durability quite consistent as a floor for characters of Denji's level. We do have
Spam
access to
move,
better
bro. I'm
feats that
telling
should
y'all.
scale directly back to
Katana
Denji as
man.
well, as the aforementioned Bat Devil not only performs a building level feat, but with this particularly large blast has an attack that's city block level that Denji also survived. Now, you'll notice I say
That's some good
survive
durability on
instead of
him.
tanked here, because Denji doesn't really eat this attack with no injuries. In fact, we see that he has to rev himself back up in order to recover from the pretty extensive wounds he acquired. This is a consistent thing to note for Denji as well, as due to his healing factor and odd biology, he's able to survive attacks like this that would otherwise incapacitate him
All
or
this just
surpass
to
his
get
durability. If you were to assume
some
that
titties,
Denji's
man.
increase in strength via training with Kishibe and progression in skill and experience would manifest in tangible feats that we could calculate
All
and
he
assess
wanted to do
them
was cop a
properly,
feel,
I'm
man.
sorry to say you're sorely mistaken, because this is about where he caps out. While he does
That's
get quite
all?
a bit
What you
faster
mean?
over the course of the series,
I know
his
he got
overall
that
strength
final
and
form.
durability doesn't seem to increase all that much, and this is pretty consistent with where he tends to rank in the greater Chainsaw Man universe, functioning as a decent mid to maybe low high tier in terms of his physical capabilities. Characters like Rize and Kwang Ji remain stronger than Denji pretty much
Bomb
in
Devil.
his entire stint as Chainsaw Man, and even they don't have scaling that exceeds what's been previously stated by very much. Comparatively, Itadori is an absolute monster. Strength and durability being stats that Yuji has in spades shouldn't be all that surprising though, given his time as a punch kick merchant for so long in the story. But how early he surpasses Denji's power output is kind of wild to think about. For example, the power that was required by the first figure bearer to send out its curse energy and send Yuji flying as well
No,
as
his fingers
destroying
are
the
gone,
environment is
bruh.
only slightly weaker than the
Dang.
sonic blast launched at Denji. Yuji,
Whole
without
hand got
curse
cut
energy,
off.
survives this with a similar amount of damage to Denji as well, which certainly doesn't put Chainsaw Man in the best of positions. Yuji's proficiency and competency with his strength and durability only grows, as even during the Goodwill event, he should be far above characters like Mechamaru and Panda in outright physical combat ability, the former being able to incinerate a large chunk of a forest with city block level attack potency. Not only was Yuji the one sent to fight Kyoto's strongest sorcerer, even without the
My boy
knowledge of his
Toto.
energy development, but he also gets significantly stronger than even
When they
that
jumped
over the
onto
course
me,
of this arc due to the introduction of the Black Flash.
that
His
was
city
cinema.
block and beyond level strength is substantiated by his relativity to Mahito and Shibuya,
And
as well
Mahito
as
finally got
talents
what
that
he
place him in
deserves.
that tier due to his shaking of Shibuya with his curse technique.
BTA.
Further still, as the story progresses, Yuji obviously
Akari
grows
looking
stronger than ever
cold.
before, becoming comparable to other heavy hitter or special grade level threats like Yuta, Hikari, and Maki, characters that can perform relative to sorcerers with town level output showings. Ishigori's initial Granite Blast and multiple of Arame's ice structures are calced to be on this small to large town level spectrum and Yuji would find himself pretty comfortably within the mix in regards
Hope
to
we
his
see more of a
overall
Rame in the
context.
movie or
This
next
would make
season.
Yuji, by the manga's end, well over 4,000 times stronger than
Dang,
Denji if it came down
four
to a straight
thousand is
fist
crazy,
versus Chainsaw matchup. For all the worried
bro.
Chainsaw Man
What?
fans, though, all hope isn't lost because
4,000
Chainsaw Man's
is
fighting
like
style is
insane. I
about
thought
a
like
lot
maybe
more than just
uh,
recklessly
a
hacking and
little over
slashing at his
100, but
opponent's
400,
neck.
4,000 is
But that's
crazy.
exactly what it is. When it comes to Chainsaw Man's speed, well, things can be a little bit more hopeful for Denji, depending on how you look at things. Much like Jujutsu Kaisen characters, the potential low end for someone like Denji is kind of nasty, I'll be honest with you. We know for a majority of the series, he should be well below the likes of the Gun Devil, even in a severely weakened state, as it was made clear at several points in part 1 that Denji just didn't have what it takes to defeat the Gun Devil straight up.
Yep.
And when fighting the Gun Devil Fiend, he loses in their initial confrontation and is only combating it at 20% of its full power.
Dang,
Fiends are generally a
20% just
lot
like
weaker
that.
than their devil counterparts, so Denji struggling in the way that he did is pretty consistent with his general standing in the Chainsaw Man universe. Even if you were to make the pretty valid point that his emotional distress contributed to him not fighting at his usual full capacity, it's obvious that the Gun Fiend was fighting in a chaotic fashion as well, which just puts us back at square one. I mentioned the Gun Devil outscaling Denji because of its feats that
Oh,
play
them
off the notion
heads,
of
bro. Them
instant
heads look
speed at,
weird.
funnily enough,
Small
around 20
heads.
times the speed of sound. A natural cap for Denji when looking
My
at
first
part
time
1.
seeing it.
This also isn't too crazy to say consistency-wise, because it's shown rather regularly throughout the manga that attacks as fast or a bit faster than sound under the right circumstances can catch him and relative fighters completely unaware. Denji getting hit by the Bat Devil Sonic attack and getting lit up by Katana Man, admittedly off guard, doesn't really help his case, but he should at least be able to react to attacks
Piercing
like
blood.
Piercing Blood by getting his chainsaw in the way of the beam, just to give Jujutsu Kaisen fans a frame of reference. If this were the heights that Denji could reach speed-wise, I'm gonna be honest with you, things would be looking not kinda, but really bad.
Yeah, if that's
Mach
all he can
1
do
to
is
3-ish
dodge
scaling
the
for his
piercing
speed
blood.
is the kind of stuff that would allow for the Naoya speed statement to be used and not be completely egregious for Yuji's chances of victory, which is just kind of crazy to think about. Taking the Mach 3 nightmare into
Now,
account,
y'all
Yuji
versus
should scale
Choso,
to
bro. I'm
or
ready
above
for
it based
that.
on relativity to Maki, shown in his team up
Gonna
with
go see
her,
that in a couple
and subsequent
weeks.
showings in power-ups in Shinjuku. You can go a step further by arguing in favor of Yuji's relativity to Yuta, a character by all accounts who should be physically comparable to Kenjaku. I don't really care if you think Kenny beats Yuta or vice versa, but these characters should be within the same general tier, and the same thing applies to Yuji. He fights alongside Yuta in Shinjuku and continues to grow even stronger after that. In making this comparison, you can get Yuji to well over 30 times the speed of sound based on a
30,
few
okay.
bouts of Kenjaku avoiding piercing blood from ultra close range. This, in my heart of hearts,
Our
is where I
bathroom
feel
scene.
it's most appropriate to put Yuji
There was
level
boxing
threats
here though for
and
sure.
himself if we're focusing on narrative consistency, but we're power scaling here, so I know that's not on too many people's minds at the moment. In addressing the electronic elephant in the room, talking about the lightning timer scaling for heavy hitter tier characters is technically
Hashimo.
possible via Hikari's perception, mental registry, and maybe avoidance of this bolt, depending on who you ask. This would scale back to Yuta, who scales back to Yuji, blah, 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 blah. If Yuji
It
is
looks like
a lightning
Yuji
timer,
just
I'm not gonna lie,
absolutely
Denji has
stomped
no real
Denji.
recourse in the speed.
Hey, it's me, Raizu. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps me very much. Let's get back into the video.
Department. But if you rely on what I think is Yuji's more consistent scaling and are willing to get a little ambiguous with it for Denji, the pendulum swings in his favor a bit. This is because in Chainsaw Man Part 2, Katana Man has a blitz on a random devil that places him over 80 times the speed of sound. An impressive showing, and one that would place Denji above Yuji if he scaled here. Just like with Lightning Timer
Katana
Yuji
Man
scaling,
spamming
I
that
have my
move.
reservations with this line of logic for Denji. While he does show relativity and even superiority in speed scaling back in their fight in Part 1, what Katana Man has been doing, or if he's gotten any vague increase in combat abilities, is kind of hard to tell. I mean, Denji got a whole lot faster just getting his ass kicked by Kishibe over and over
True.
and over. It'd be pretty easy to imagine that
Some
Katana Man
insane training they had to do,
match,
bro.
especially because of his like hate boner for Chainsaw Man. That being said, I include this feat mainly because my skepticism is just that. There are no statements or direct comparisons placing Part 2 Katana Man over his Part 1 counterpart, so if they are equal, Denji should scale here. In assuming that Yuji is around Mach 30 and Denji is around Mach 80, The gap in speed isn't quite as monumental
That
as
Black
the gap
Flash
in
hit that
strength
boy
and
hard as
agility,
hell.
but potentially being 2 times faster than Yuji with a bit of a high ball certainly isn't too bad. Denji's also immortal, so he should be able to survive Yuji's
Oh
onslaught
yeah, keep
all
on
day
healing.
long until he gets
As long
tired
as he
out
got blood.
and Chainsaw Man prevails, is what I would say if I didn't understand how each of these characters' hacks work. Well, Denji is immortal and can regenerate from pretty much anything when fed blood. We know that he
Yep.
isn't invincible. Kishibe shows us and tells us this directly, as even something as simple as snapping Denji's neck is enough to put him down unless he's fed blood. While it does take a lot to put Denji down or incapacitate him in his Chainsaw Man form, enough force can basically keep him immobile for good, which in all honesty is as much of a win con as outright killing a character as far as I'm concerned. Rize shows off this strategy's effectiveness firsthand. So long as you dole out constant
Point
damage
blank
and don't allow
bomb.
Denji to consume blood and pull his ripcord, you can snuff out his ability to recover full stop. I think it's fair to say that Yuji wouldn't know this from the outset, but it's a simple enough trick to catch on to after seeing it once or twice, and it's not like he's going to be pressed for time by an opponent that can obviously hurt him. Yuji's also extremely familiar fighting characters with ridiculous healing factors, and has one himself. So fighting someone that basically has a blood-dependent reverse curse technique
Spamming in
should
Black
be
Flash is
much
like a
of an issue. In
Sukuna,
the
bro.
absolute worst case
Oh
scenario
yeah.
for Denji,
Mahito
he's
got BT
ran
here
upon by someone
too.
faster than him, stronger than him,
Insane
more
combos, bro.
skilled than
Left,
him, and
right,
catching a combo so
kick on the
fast you'd
wall.
think
Now
it
we
would
wall
be
come on
over.
you.
Best case scenario for Denji,
Throat check.
and he's faster than Yuji with no real way to harm him. His chainsaws are glancing off of Yuji's body with no impact seen Kenpachi style, and for as much as Yuji held the title of Punch Kick Man for a majority of the series,
Yep.
Denji is equally a slice man. If he can't cut you down, he can't beat you. Unfortunately for Denji, Yuji developed, grew, and evolved past that and got a few tricks of his own.
Yeah, he
Aside
got
from the
piercing
basics of
blood,
his martial arts,
Sukuna.
Yuji by the story's end
He got
was also
cleave now.
capable of using reverse curse technique, simple domain, shrine, and its very own domain expansion. The most important of the newfound techniques are Shrine and his domain. Even in the event that you do argue that Denji is faster than Itadori, the invisible nature of Yuji's slashing attacks would do well to catch Denji off guard and potentially just remove limbs from him outright. There's no counter to this that he'd be capable
Just
of,
like
at least,
Katana Man
because
did.
these attacks would only be hitting him because they're
I think
invisible.
Denji, look like
Because
Denji's
he's too
cooked, bro.
slow.
I
This
can't
would
lie.
make long range unviable for long if he doesn't want to get picked off, and this would either result in Denji just having his legs taken out from under him at long range and kill the mobility advantage that he has, or he'd try to get around this by forcing an up-close battle with Yuji and get his shit absolutely rocked. Yuji's domain expansion achieves a similar result with just a bit more directness and
Disrespecting
potency. While
Sukuna
his
here is
slashes
crazy.
can target the boundary between souls, we know that this isn't something he'd have to do, and domain amp slashes would be more than enough to turn Denji into mincemeat with no blood to refuel himself. And not that it's necessary or anything, but Yuji's ability to target the soul, you know, the one that I just mentioned, yeah, depending on how you
Yeah.
look at things in the Chainsaw Man universe and how that correlate to Jujutsu Kaisen soul shenanigans, incarnated sorcerers, yada yada yada, Yuji might be able to force Pochito right out of Denji's body.
That
Now,
would be crazy.
would this be
If
a
he just
good thing for
lost his
Itadori?
ability.
No.
Yeah,
not
this
really,
mode right
just
here, I
because
want to
Pochita
see. You
comes
got
out swinging.
4,
Pochita
2
scrapping
on
with him
each
would
hand.
be really bad. But arguing for Pochita to join in on a Denji fight is like arguing Sukuna comes to save the day whenever Yuji's gonna lose. So I don't even know if I should bother with that. Actually, you know what? Let me not be stingy and hit y'all with a little bit of a bonus.
Alright then.
Right? Based on all the scaling presented, we know that Yuji absolutely demolishes Denji in a straight 1v1. But if that
Yeah,
happens,
not surprised.
Pochita takes over, right? Big bro grabs the controller, decides to step in, decides to play, and for the sake of Denji's dreams, gotta put belt to ass to this guy with pink hair in front of him. How exactly does this play out? Well, like I said before, not good. Not good at all. Speed-wise, you know it was contentious to have Denji maybe be twice as fast as Yuji? Yeah, well,
Oh
how should I
my,
say this?
Jogo pit
Pochita
BT
doesn't
on
have
them
that
too.
problem, like, at all. Even if you were to really glaze Yuji and argue that he's a lightning timer due to the whole Hikari line of scaling, Pochita's speed surpasses that with room to spare. Not only does he have a feet 2 times faster than Yuji's
Oh, this
neck,
this form
when he
is
throws his heart
cooking.
back into orbit, but he's also significantly quicker than even that due to him being superior to Makima and all of her attacks individually. One of which
This
being her
form is
finger
cooking,
gun
seems
that
like.
sent him into space in the
And
first
he
place,
survived?
and she did this at well over Mach 4,000.
Dang.
4 with 3 zeros
4,000? Oh
being
my
as generous
god.
and
Yeah.
fast as possible, Pochita would be 15 times faster than Yuji on his best day. Not being generous, kind of acting more in line with how I think he actually scales, it'd be more like a 150 times difference.
Oh my,
Luckily for Yuji
15,
though,
bro,
he's not only stronger still, but he also
150
has a domain
is
expansion which can
crazy.
even the odds when the gap in speed is crazy. Is what I would say if I were an absolute
So
nut job.
Denji's
Yuji's
mode,
town level strength is
his
at best
awakening
comparable
is
to
cooking.
fragments of the Gun
It
Devil's
seems
power,
like
which should just be
it's just
directly
that OP.
inferior devil-wise to Pochita in overall strength and ability when functioning, even
He
at
getting
100%
jumped by all of
strength.
them.
I'll
Gun
grant you that there
Devil,
isn't much of a gap in overall strength and
Katana.
durability here in the same way that there is speed. That's only really possible to achieve if you do some weird Typhoon Devil scaling that doesn't necessarily track, or you assume that Pochita, despite getting like obliterated and blown away by some of Yoru's strongest attack, for some reason directly scales. But even being able to harm each other, Pochita being able to harm Yuji and Yuji being able to harm Pochita, is too much of a disadvantage for Yuji when the difference in quickness is so vast. The fight would play out very similarly to many other of Vegeta's big battles, with him making a mad dash blitz attempt, slicing Yuji into
He
pieces.
just
The
cut
issue
Katana
here
Man
is
up.
that Yuji's reverse curse technique, while impressive, just won't be able to keep up with being bisected and decapitated in typical Chainsawman fashion. It's wild too, because Pochita doesn't
Yeah,
even
this
really
mode
gain that many
is
other unique
insanely
abilities
OP.
upon transforming into his true
He's speed
self,
blitzing
aside from
Yuji.
a crazy regen boost. But
Yeah,
his
and he got
ability to
regen too.
slash really well just increases so astronomically. So much so that Yuji has no answers for it. No domain, no punches, no kicks, no invisible slashes. Just straight chainsaw to the body to wrap up this battle, or at least the bonus round of it. And you know what? Yeah. You know what?
Wow.
We're gonna throw Pochita against the entire Jujutsu Kaisen universe in its own video soon, because this thing is just
Oh,
absurdly busted.
yeah,
Yuji
this
alone
already, just off what
doesn't
he said,
stand
it
a
seems
chance. If
crazy.
you enjoyed the video and want to see more Chainsaw Man versus
Low key,
battles,
bruh. What, basically, so if Denji goes and Pachita, if he takes over, bruh, Yuji gets cooked. But if it's just Yuji versus Denji, then Yuji wins. So realistically, Denji gonna get Pachita gonna take over. So Yuji wins, which I'm surprised at. But 150 times faster than Yuji himself, who's already 4,000 times faster than the base. Like base Denji is crazy, bruh. That's insane feats, like insane speed blitzing, bruh. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.